Hello, hello, hello. So today we got a bit of a weird video that I'm gonna make. It's gonna be my first really opinionated video, my first political video. But I wouldn't say it's too political. It's just about mainly comic books and media representation and comic book movies and adaptations. So stay tuned. Stick with me. And yeah, leave a like on this video because we're gonna get into some interesting stuff. So if you know me in real life, you would know that I'm a pretty big Marvel fan, mainly MCU. I've been watching the MCU ever since Iron Man, the very first MCU movie, all the way back in 2007. And I watched all the way through to Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home. I've seen every single movie multiple times except for Thor the Dark World, but who gives a shit about Thor the Dark World? And yeah, I'm a pretty huge fan of Marvel movies. And not only just, Marvel movies, I'm a fan of Marvel comics. I'm a fan of, not just the MCU, but also, like the Sam Raimi trilogy. I'm a huge fan of those movies. So yeah, I feel like I have a pretty, these movies have played a pretty big role in my life. And yeah, I just don't like some of the rhetoric that's being pushed on these movies and TV shows lately. And I have a problem with some of these interpretations that people are pushing. So the video we're going to be reacting to is by this person. Their name is Jay Longbone. They have almost 100,000 subscribers, so not really a small channel. I'd say more around the size of medium. And yeah, we're going to react to this video and we're going to give our thoughts on it, and we're also going to go into the comment section and kind of debunk some of the claims that are going on all around this video. So let's get into this.
They will never let a black man be Captain America.
It's Colonel James Rhodes. The American people will soon know him as the Iron Patriot.
Would you look at this?
And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.
How does it feel? Like it's someone else's. It isn't. Thank you. I'll do my best.
Just because you want to suck white dick and get semen stains on your beard, you bitch ass nigga.
Okay, so that was the clip. That was the video that we're gonna be dissecting today. And as you can see, it's a meme, so it's kind of hard. But they're not making any real claims here. But there's a lot of inferred implications that this clip is making here that I have a problem with. First and foremost, they seem to be making the claim that between the years 2021 and 2019, the MCU is injecting more racial politics into their movies. That's why they showed the clip of Sam Wilson receiving the shield and race not being brought up, and then they very clearly bring up race in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But there's a couple problems with this, mainly the fact that comic books and comic book movies have always been political, and specifically Marvel has never shied away from sharing their political opinions. Now, to illustrate this point that Marvel has been political since its inception, I look no other than Captain America, which Falcon and the Winter Soldier is centered around. So as you can see, this is the first edition of Captain America. This is the first comic ever released, and you see the very iconic Captain America punching Hitler in the face. Okay, now a lot of people conflate this with basic pro-US or pro-military propaganda, but actually, if you look up when Captain America was created, Captain America, the very first issue, that issue right there that I just showed, was published on March of 1941. When did the U.S. join World War II? December 1941. So Marvel has never been afraid to take stance on political issues, okay? They were denouncing Nazism before the US even joined in on the war. As a matter of fact, the only reason the US joined in on the war was because of Pearl Harbor. But even without that, Marvel was still willing to put their neck out there and denounce Nazism and show Hitler for what the villain he is. So, Marvel has been political since its inception, and if you have a problem with there being politics in comics and in comic book movies, then you simply just have to stop buying, watching, and reading comic book material in its entirety, because it's always been political, it's always going to be political, and it should be political because these writers are expressing themselves. They have complete autonomy on what they write. You can have your opinion on it, but saying that it's bad because it's political is a fallacy. And the fact that you only have a problem with it being political whenever a racial topic gets brought up is something that I have a problem with, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth with this as this video goes on, because they try and format this as like it's just a meme or it's just a joke. I'm gonna get a lot of comments saying that this is just a meme and just a joke, and to a certain extent it is, but these people are hiding behind their memes and hiding behind the fact that they're not technically making any political statements or any claims, but the subtext is there and we all know what they're trying to state here. But they're hiding behind that sort of ambiguity, that sort of gray ground there, so they can cowardly get away with the type of claims that they're subtextually making. And no, I'm not having it. So let's get into this. Now, the other thing that this meme does that irritates me is that it equivocates the importance of Sam, a black man, being Captain America, with Rhodey being Iron Patriot. But here's the thing, Iron Patriot is not really given that much significance culturally, and Iron Patriot is not a mantle in the same way Captain America is. And you can see this in the way that we refer to Rhodey. No one refers to Rhodey as the Iron Patriot. No one does that. He's War Machine, okay? He refers to himself as War Machine, and outside of that one movie and in the couple scenes he is referred to as the Iron Patriot, that's it. We don't refer to him as the Iron Patriot. He's not a pillar of what America stands for. It's literally just a War Machine suit with red, white, and blue stripes, okay, and a star in the middle. That's all it is. That's all it's ever going to be, because no matter how hard you try to make this false equivalency, the Patriot suit will never have the same amount of cultural significance as Captain America or even the goddamn Captain America shield, okay? Sorry, I like Rhodey too, but no, sorry, it will never have the same significance. So nice try. Captain America is the man that represents the best qualities of America: truth, justice, freedom, strength. It's supposed to be the absolute best representation of what America is and what it can be. But the Iron Patriot is literally just a suit. It's not a mantle. Like I said, it doesn't even have a 1/1,000,000th of the cultural significance that Captain America has. So you trying to equivocate them, it ain't a good look, bro. It ain't a good look. You're not doing too good. But anyway, so if you look into the comment sections, this is his audience, so they're gonna understand a lot more of his opinions and the subtext that he is trying to go for. So, you know, this is just the top comment. I replied to this one, but we'll get into that later. I think what annoys me the most is just the disrespect the show does to all the characters, both in standing with the MCU and the comics. Though what made me furious is how they write Isaiah, who, despite the raw deal he's given in the comic series that introduces him, he doesn't regret it and is happy to accept Captain America's uniform after Steve brings it to him when meeting. But nah, all America is racist no matter what. Forget all the great social change and shit. Everything is racist and evil. Whew, I'm out of breath. A lot of run-on sentences, but we're not grading grammar, we're grading arguments. So let's dissect this for a second. So in the video, the main person who's talking is Isaiah. He's telling Isaiah is telling Sam that they won't let a black man be Captain America. They won't ever let a black man be Captain America. So who is Isaiah Bradley? Isaiah Bradley was the first black Captain America. Okay. He was given the super soldier serum, an experimental version of the super soldier serum that deformed him and all of his comrades. Okay. He saved people. He was a hero during the war. In the MCU they say he's in the Korean War, but I think he was still in World War II during this time. So in the comics. So, but most of that is irrelevant. The main point here is Isaiah Bradley did the exact same things and had the exact same qualities that Cap did. He was brave. He went out of his way. He broke the rules to save his comrades. Okay, so they did the exact same things, but what was the difference? Their treatment because of their color. Okay, so Steve Rogers was a good man. I'm not taking anything away from him, but because of his skin color, he was treated with the dignity and respect he deserved. He was decorated as a hero, and he remains an icon both in his universe and in our universe. But Isaiah Bradley didn't get that much treatment. And in our world, he's barely known. And in Marvel Comics, he is intentionally hidden. His entire family and friends is told that he's dead because they don't want to have a black American superhero. And he is locked in jail for 20 years. And as the commenter alluded to, Steve Rogers, being the good man he is, he goes and tries to make amends to Isaiah Bradley. He apologizes, and as you can see, he gives him the suit that Isaiah Bradley donned back in the day, copying Captain America. He gives him that suit back, and Isaiah Bradley is still happy to accept the suit. So why is this commenter complaining about his adaptation in the MCU? Well, his adaptation in the MCU is changed in 2 or 3 major ways. The first being they go more into depth on how he was tortured. They make that more of a pinpoint, like how he was experimented on and tortured. They up his prison time from 20 to 30 years. And last but not least, Isaiah Bradley is not happy. He is a jaded, bitter old man because of the experiences that he has endured, and he has every right to feel that way. I think he's a lot nicer than I would be if I was locked up for 30 years. Let me just say that. And I had super strength. Let me just say that. So yes, this character Isaiah Bradley in the MCU, I think the changes that they made, if anything, enhanced the character. I think he's a lot more realistic. I don't think you would be happy to, I think Steve Rogers going up and apologizing to Isaiah Bradley is a good thing, but realistically, with the history of African American people in this country, America has never made amends for its wrongdoings to the black people. Sorry to say it, and America is a racist institution. Sorry to say it, but it's the facts. It's factual. I'm not going to get into that later. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video on showing the statistics on how America is statistically racist, but that's for another time, okay? But realistically, America would not come up to apologize to a black man for wrongdoing them, okay? And also, realistically, the black man or any man who was put through what Isaiah was put through would not remain optimistic, would not remain patriotic. So these changes that they made to Isaiah Bradley's character were completely justified, and they ground the character in reality. And I think what this commenter here has to ask himself really is that why is he only mad about the fact that this character is changed? They take creative liberties with these characters all the time. Perfect example, of course, Bucky Barnes remaining with Captain America mythos, so to speak. Yeah, Bucky Barnes, Captain America's right-hand man. Bucky Barnes was 16 in 1941 when he fought alongside Captain America in a war with Nazis, okay? They changed his storyline to make him around the same age, but this is what the real Bucky Barnes was, okay? Running around fighting Nazis. Is this what you guys want? I mean, why are you so upset about them changing the attitude of a character after being locked up for 20 years when they straight up added like 12 years to this man's life? Why does this bother you so much? Why doesn't it bother you that the Eye of Agamotto that Doctor Strange holds is the time stone, when in the comics it was never the time stone? So you have some pretty large inconsistencies here. Maybe you are mad about that, but I doubt it. I think that there's, something, I'm gonna just quote this, something about this character that upsets you. I don't know, maybe something to do with his race. I don't know. So yeah, this commenter seems to be upset about the fact that Isaiah Bradley is bitter, as he should be. And I think this kind of goes back into that whole stereotype of the blessed slaves or the lucky slaves. The idea that white slave owners were doing Africans a favor by enslaving them and dragging them to America because they would have had worse lives in Africa somehow. I think that this is the kind of ideology that goes into that, and the idea that no matter what America does to black people, they should always be happy for what they have or what America has given them, even though they haven't given them much and they've oppressed them a lot. So I think that this kind of ideology is kind of feeding into this comment right here, and I think it's pretty gross. And last line of this comment I want to address here is all America is racist no matter what. Forget about all the great social change. So this is pretty simple. You don't get points for not being an asshole or not being as much of an asshole as you could have been. Imagine for we go to school together. We're in high school together, and for 400 days I absolutely beat the dog crap out of you. Okay, I just beat you up every day we see each other at school. I beat the crap out of you. And then for 70 days I don't beat you up, but I still talk crap about you and I still hit you. Would you say that I made some great social progress? Would you say that I'm developing greatly, and that if you were to call me an asshole for beating you up all those times, how would you feel if I turned around and said, oh, you're forgetting about all the great I'm doing? That would be pretty dumb, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think that would be pretty dumb. So yeah, this comment's pretty dumb. This video's pretty dumb. Let me see. Is there any other comments I want to go through? It's amazing how quickly the narrative comes to mind. Yeah, it's just the same thing. They're just like trying to how the MCU flips its stories. I already debunked how the MCU is not flipping its story, nor is Marvel flipping their story. They're doing exactly what they've been doing since Marvel was established. Okay, they're shining light on social issues like they should be, and you're just mad because you don't want to hear about these social issues because you're not mentally strong enough to deal with them. And that's the real issue that's going on here. You can't look past yourself, you can't look past what you know, and it's hurting you. Okay, but that's not my fault. So lastly, I'd just like to point out that all this whole video, all these comments, they all missed the whole point of this conversation. Okay, and I'll show you some things about this that is pretty interesting. I think this is pretty good storytelling by Marvel here. Sam is supposed to be a proxy, like or Isaiah is supposed to be a proxy for Sam. Isaiah is basically doing the exact same thing that Sam wants to do. He wants to follow in Steve Rogers' footsteps. He wants to be the hero for America as a black man, and that's exactly what Isaiah Bradley did, and look how it turned out for him. That's why when Sam Wilson goes to talk to Isaiah, that's why he's so worried. That's why Sam gave up the shield, because he was worried about how racism might affect his ability to be Captain America. So the whole point of this conversation, right, is Sam Wilson is worried about how racism will affect him, and Isaiah has been through so much pain, had such a horrible past that he can't be hopeful about the future. But Sam can, and that's the whole point of this conversation, is that we should be hopeful about the future, but instead you guys are injecting your politics, okay? Because you're claiming that the show writers are injecting politics, but you're the one injecting politics into this. You're injecting your politics into this and saying that Isaiah Bradley is saying that, you know, you can't be black and be Captain America. And he is, but that's not what the MCU is saying, and that's not what facts are saying, okay? What Isaiah Bradley's opinion is it's based off of his own experiences, okay? And the experiences that he has had is valid, but they're not fact. So him saying that a black man can't be Captain America is patently false, because at the end of this show, and the finale comes out 2 days from now as I'm recording this video, Sam Wilson will be the black Captain America, okay? And I know you guys are all going to be butthurt about that by the looks of this comment section here. But yeah, you know, the whole point of this is that Isaiah is too hurt to get over his past to be hopeful about the future. And Sam has to overcome all this pain that the black community has come through. And he has to say, hey, I'm going to stand up and be a hero of this country, and I'm going to be the black Captain America, and I'm going to be hopeful in that. So yeah, in conclusion, I think a lot of people are deliberately misinterpreting this show. They're injecting their own opinions into this show without really paying attention to the very basic narrative beats that these writers are going for here. So, you know, I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, I just saw this stuff around and I was like, man, this is interesting. They did a similar thing with Black Panther. They tried to say Black Panther was causing racial agitation and splitting up people, but it's just not true. I don't see how having representation is splitting up America. I don't see how, you know, the thing is about being privileged is you'll always feel like equality is oppression, and that's what you're seeing here. These people are having to listen to the most minuscule amount of racial issues, and they are crying. I mean, crying, dude. And you know, that's what happens when you're isolated from these topics, and that's why they're crying like this. They're not mentally capable to deal with these topics after being isolated for so long. But like I said, not my problem, not your problem. You know, they're free to share their opinions, but I'm free to dunk on them. And yeah, anyway, subscribe, follow, check out my Twitch. I'm really not that political on Twitch, or I don't even talk about any of this stuff. I'm just a huge fan of Marvel movies, and yeah, I just don't like it when people kind of take craps on things that I'm really enjoying without any real evidence or meaning. They just want to inject their own politics into it. So I hope you have a good day. I'll see you later. Bye. Don't let this stuff keep you down.